Number 13, Texas Tech falls at number 20, Arizona, by a score of 82-73 as the Red Raiders suffer their first Big 12 road loss of this season. In today's video, we'll recap the game and why physicality and rebounding were the two main issues for Texas Tech and what we can expect from Texas Tech moving forward throughout the month of February. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's RC Maxfield here for the Back to 12 podcast. And listen, was not an ideal game for the Red Raiders out in Tucson. That is a tough place to play, just like the USA is a tough place to play. Up at Allen Fieldhouse, tough place to play. Hilton, down in Houston, right? That is one of the toughest environments to play in all of college basketball. So hat tip to the Arizona Wildcats for bringing the physicality early against the Red Raiders. But I want to hear from you guys. What's your one word to describe that Texas Tech loss at Arizona? Mine? It's physicality, and we'll talk about it here in just a second a little bit more in depth. But I thought from the jump, Arizona set the tone in terms of, all right, we're going to come out here and we're going to make sure you know that you're playing in our arena, that you're going to be playing our brand of basketball. And credit to Texas Tech. They fought like hell for a majority of the game, but in the second half, they got kind of winded there after they really only played about 5 guys in the second half. But again, let me know your one word to describe that Texas Tech loss at Arizona down on the pinned comment below. All right, let's jump into the stats, right? As you can see right there, 82-73. Arizona did not score a field goal in the last 4 minutes of this game and still ended up winning. That was because obviously Texas Tech was sending them to the free throw line, and Arizona converted on a majority of those free throws there at the end of the game. For the Red Raiders, they were led by JT Toppin, who had a quiet, and I mean quiet, 21 and 13 in this game. There were times where it felt like he left a lot of meat on the bone. I'm talking about maybe like 4 or 5 shots where I was like, all right, JT's got to make that. And obviously the game would be different, but credit the U of A in terms of their interior physicality. I thought it paid off huge for them in this matchup, specifically against JT Toppin in the second half. Then you had Elijah Hawkins, who had more assists than he did points in this one. Just a poor shooting performance by EH in this one. D5 came on strong as of late in that game, really the last 7 minutes, where he really wasn't shooting well. He was 3 of 13 at one point. You can do the math there. Went 3 of 5 to end the game and 5 of 10 for 3. I thought really one of the most impressive aspects of this game by Arizona was how they limited Chance McMillan to find open space. It was something that really stood out to me in this game, specifically when Chance was running all over the place. I thought Arizona did a good job of not only from the physicality aspect of it, but from a communication aspect of it. It is much easier said than done to guard a guy like Chance McMillan who runs around like a chicken with his head cut off, and rightfully so, just to find space and get an open shot. Did he shoot well in this game? Obviously not. 1 of 6, but really 2 of those threes were just chuck it up at the very end and see what happens type stuff at the end of the shot clock. Overall, Arizona held him to be a non-factor for a long stretch of this game. Credit to Tommy Lloyd and the Wildcats on that front for doing that. Elsewhere for the Red Raiders, let's go look at more stats for Texas Tech in this one as I get those on your screen right now. I thought the Red Raiders overall, right, really relied on 5 guys in this game, and they only had 5 guys score in this game. And I think that that was also a negative for Texas Tech at the very end of this game overall. You look at it, 5 players played 30-plus minutes in this game, all right? And I think at the end of the game, it really showed its ugly head. And Grant McCasland even said so as well, that he had to do a better job in his post-game press conference. He said that he had to do a better job of really limiting those guys in terms of keeping them fresh at the end, because Arizona and their physicality at the end of the game, it paid off huge. And I think that that's why Arizona was able to pull away there at the end in terms of really sustaining the lead that they had. Texas Tech cut it to about 5 points with about 90 seconds left in that range. But overall, I thought Arizona really controlled this game. I mean, you can see it on your screen right there. Time trailing for the Red Raiders in this one was basically the entire game. It was 38-39 in terms of how long Arizona led in this game, much like Texas Tech and what they did out in Lubbock. I thought it was really one of those things, too, where watching this game, I know there will be some Arizona fans in the comments and whatnot. I think these might be the most two evenly matched teams in all of the Big 12, right? Arizona, what they did at home is exactly what Texas Tech did at home in the matchup against Arizona, and each home team won. I would love to see this matchup on a neutral site in Kansas City because I think it would be an absolute cinema type moment for the Big 12. I really do. That said, Arizona dominated on the boards in this matchup as well. As we can go back and look at the on the court stuff here. You look at it, Arizona in this game had 42 rebounds. Texas Tech had 29. The exact same number of offensive rebounds for both the Red Raiders and the Wildcats in this one. But when you look at it, the thing that Arizona did better than Texas Tech in this game was they secured that defensive rebound at a high rate. It felt like every time that ball went up and it was a missed shot, Arizona was in proper position to succeed and sustain the defensive rebound and allow their offense to get out in transition, allow their bigs to get out and running, and they love to run their bigs right beeline down the middle of the floor, and it worked out for them a few times. But overall, I thought Texas Tech, just from the standpoint of, I don't mind them shooting that many threes. Grant McCasland wants to shoot 25 plus per game. When you shoot 36% from three, you'll take that many three opportunities. You will, right? That's just the reality of it. I thought Texas Tech, from a physicality standpoint, just got absolutely outclassed in this game. And it shows in their field goal percentage where it feels like they just struggled to make anything in the paint. And that's a hat tip to Arizona in this one overall when it's all said and done. All right. Before we get into where does Texas Tech now rank in terms of kenpom, basketball standings, in terms of the Big 12 and the net and the upcoming schedule for the Red Raiders, all I'm going to ask you to do in today's video is simply like the video and hit that subscribe button if you want 100% free Texas Tech content all year round. My goodness, I'm getting too excited about this March Madness run Texas Tech is going to go on. I mean, I get it. They lost at Arizona. These are two really good teams. This is one of those things where you look at the last three games, Houston, Baylor, Arizona. If I were to tell you that Texas Tech went 2-1 in that stretch, you probably would have taken it. Unfortunately, you had a chance to make it 3-0, came up short against the quality Arizona team. But if you want to stay in the know on all things Texas Tech men's basketball all year long, whether it's the portal, on the hardwood, March Madness, and everything in between, join the largest group of Texas Tech fans right here on YouTube in the Back to 12 podcast channel. All right. Let's jump into, we're going to go look at the Big 12 standings first as I get them on your screen right now. As you can see, Arizona and Houston are tied at 11-1 in conference play. Funny enough, both of those teams lost to the Red Raiders. Texas Tech probably could have been 10-2, but shoulda, coulda, woulda. Didn't make some free throws against Iowa State. It is what it is, right? But you're still in really good standing if you're Texas Tech. As we shift over to kenpom, okay, what happened after this game? Texas Tech really didn't move down too much. They actually kind of stayed the same. Arizona jumped up a few spots. They are now number 10. Again, you're facing off against the top 10 team in the country, according to multiple analytics sites. And we'll also look at net here in a second as well. Doesn't make the loss any easier. I thought Texas Tech left a lot of meat on the bone, specifically from the physicality standpoint. They really, really struggled. Hat tip to Arizona on that front. But Texas Tech just didn't make any adjustments on that front. They'll have plenty of opportunities to bona fide their resume here on a stretch we'll talk about in just a second. But before we do, let's look at the net and see what happened. As you can see on your screen, Texas Tech still in the top 10, as is Arizona. Funny enough, Arizona and Texas Tech just flipped after this game. Another funny aspect, Texas Tech lost yesterday, but they got another quad one win. Think about that for a second. You're thinking to yourself, RC, how does that happen? They lost a basketball game. How did they get another quad one win? Shout out to Kansas State for beating Kansas at home. Texas Tech, after beating the Wildcats, a team that nobody wants to play in the Big 12 right now. Jerome Tang and crew are hooping up in Manhattan. Texas Tech got another quad one win since the Wildcats beat the Jayhawks in the Sunflower Showdown up there in Manhattan yesterday. As for the remaining schedule in February for Texas Tech, you can see it on your screen right now. The Red Raiders, they should go 4-0 over the next 4 games. They are clearly more talented than every team they play until they face off against Houston on primetime Monday night on February 24th. You're going to be favored by double digits against Arizona State. You're going to be favored by probably double digits in Stillwater. You're going to be favored by probably 7-8 points at TCU. And you're probably going to be favored by 7-8 points at home against West Virginia. You should go 4-0 in those games. Now, if you do, remember, you're sitting at 9-3 right now if you're Texas Tech, okay, in the Big 12. You would be 13-3. You would still be in a solid position to potentially even win the conference or win a share of it, considering you have Houston on the schedule and you split with Arizona, right? Those are the three teams, and then Iowa State as well. That one may come back to bite you, but overall, just looking at what is ahead of you, you should beat Arizona State on Wednesday night. You should beat Oklahoma State on Saturday. You should beat TCU that next Tuesday, and you should beat West Virginia after that as well. You should be 13-3 going into a week where you play two of the toughest teams in this conference. Houston, a team that will be seeking a lot of revenge after you beat them down at their home arena. And then your lone matchup out at Allen Fieldhouse on Saturday, March 1st against the Kansas Jayhawks. Okay. Again, not an ideal loss, but I'm encouraged from the standpoint of this. First and foremost, it's hard as hell to win on the road in the Big 12, right? You're 5-1. You'll take that, right? Texas Tech played an uncharacteristic game at Arizona, and it had a lot to do with how Arizona came out and played. All the credit in the world should go to the Wildcats. At the end of the day, there was some meat left on the bone by Texas Tech, but you also ran out of gas, and Grant McCasland already put his hand up for accountability in terms of the lineups and playing them a little bit too long against the Wildcats. But you move into a stretch now where if you're Texas Tech, where at worst you should go 3-1. At worst. The thing is you're going to be favored in these next 4 games leading up to Houston, and you have a chance to be 13-3 at home on primetime against a more than likely top 10 Houston team for a chance to move up a spot or two in the Big 12 standings. It's going to be pivotal these next 2 weeks for Texas Tech, but it all starts on Wednesday night against Arizona State, the Sun Devils, and the Hurley brother comes into the 8:06 looking to upset the Red Raiders. Grant McCasland will have this team ready, though. I can promise you that. All right, that's going to do it for today's recap video. If you haven't already, be sure to like the video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell. Stay in the know on all things Texas Tech men's basketball all year long right here on the largest group of Texas Tech fans on YouTube and the most interactive group of Texas Tech fans on YouTube. We're interactive here. We got other fan bases talking trash in the comments. You love to see it. That's what this is about, right? Bring that quote-unquote ball knowledge from other fan bases. We love to see it here on the Back to 12 podcast channel. So if you want in on the fun, just like the video, hit that subscribe button. And as always, stay safe and rep 'em Tech.